Most agents, guys, get distracted by all the cool marketing strategies available. Like really, there are so many marketing strategies, right? But what we found is there's one way that is the fastest way to a transaction that's probably going to surprise you, right? Do you agree with that, Wesley? Is it going to surprise people?
Yeah, I think it surprises a lot of people. And then in a way, it's kind of like, duh, I should have known that.
and he's going to tell you in a minute. Not right now, in a minute. And so let's introduce you first to who Wesley. So I'm Jesse. I'm gonna be hosting today in this LCA webinar with Wesley. I don't even know, how do you say your last name? Rocha?
Oh, it is Rocha. I know
Rocha.
yeah, like when you see it, the natural is Rocha, but I've been told it's Rocha, so that's what I'm going with.
Well, then I will also say Rocha. We will make sure we both say it the same way. I've never said it out loud. So Wesley Rocha, his superpower is automation, and his company LinkU does personalized follow-up, retargeting pixels, so many things. But today we're focused on, he's going to take us through a journey on the fastest way to a transaction. And I actually don't know what it is, so I'm ready to be surprised too, because I've been told it's been something that's like totally obvious, but I missed it possibly. So where do you want to start, Wesley?
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, sounds good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Jesse. And nice to see we have a decent attendance today. So hello, everyone in Zoom and Facebook land. So yeah, welcome.
We got some,
let me go share my screen. I have some. Huh?
I was just going to say, we got Tina in Greenville, North Carolina. We got Tessa in Ventura, California. I'm going to be watching. Thank you for pointing that out. If you guys are live on Zoom with us, there's a Q&A box. That's the best place to type questions. We can keep them organized. So the reason we do this thing live, instead of being Wesley as a recorded hologram just talking at you, is so you can stop and ask questions and we can dive deeper on anything you want, right? We got Joyce in Massachusetts, Letitia and Tisha in Royal Oaks, Michigan. We got Jacqueline in Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Ooh, this is fun. Everyone's typing where they're from now, right? I love it. So if you got questions, type it in the Q&A box. If you put them in the chat box, I will do my best to reach them as well. We're going to let Wesley rock and roll. Go ahead, Wes.
All right. Cool deal. Thanks. So a little about me. For those of you who don't know, a lot of you maybe have been on these before. Been an online marketer, web developer since I was 17. I've helped thousands of agents implement affordable, effective, and automated strategies. Just make sure you guys can see my screen, right?
Got it.
Over the presentation.
Yeah. I don't know if everybody said we got it.
Double check.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because sometimes, you accidentally set the wrong screen and all that. All right, and then, so I've been doing that for the last 20 years, believe it or not. Don't let my young looks fool you. And I've created the fastest growing follow community for agents in the world. Don't look that up. Just believe me. All right, so this is all about these issues, these experiences that I've heard so many agents have. For example, has anyone, and please participate in the chat, has anyone here experienced someone that you've known buying or selling with someone else? You can say, that's me, it's happened to me, never to me, whatever you want to say. That stuff should go in the chat. And then Q&A will go in the questions.
And so, I will read them out loud. Carrie says, yes, frowny face. You're absolutely put a frowny face after it. That's absolutely acceptable. Yes, it is absolutely happened to me, Wesley, 100%.
Have you ever been contacting past clients, or have you ever put off contacting your past clients because maybe you're a little scared what they're going to say or what's going to happen in that conversation? Is that something? Or you just like I'll call anyone. Nope. I don't care. I know a lot of people sometimes get scared, right?
No, but here's the thing. I will call anyone. However, with clients, when it goes too long, a certain period of time, and it's like, oh, I really should have called them. Then absolutely, I delay calling for it.
That's true, because now too much time went by. Now you feel weird calling them because it's been so long. Because it's like, oh, I'll just call them. I'll call them. And next thing you know, that next week turns into when did coronavirus start? March. It's been like 9 months later.
What year? What year did it start? I don't know.
Exactly. Or maybe you have the fear, you experience having that fear of hearing no, or worse, getting rejected or ghosted, meaning they don't reply to you. But I think the worst is when you do hear about someone, one of your friends, family, that had past clients, you name it, you kind of hear like, oh, congratulations, new home. And you're like, oh, I wasn't involved in that transaction. Awkward situation. Or do you maybe have you spent tons of time and energy on things that don't actually generate business? I'm sure we're all guilty of that, right? We work on stuff, we do projects, maybe it's this next marketing idea we have or something we learned, we put all this time into it, and then nothing happens. We get nothing. And so we are like frustrated with that. And then how about just experiencing overwhelm, just unsure of what to do next? Because there's so many options. There's so many things you could be doing as an agent, right? There's so many things you could do to bring more business. Where do you start? What's the next thing you should do? And then also, I know a lot of us, a lot of agents, and because I'm in the real estate business as well, I feel like our income matches sometimes the real estate agent's income, and that is inconsistent, goes up and down. So we have inconsistent income, non-productive days. I'm sure we all have non-productive days. And sometimes maybe just the feeling that we're spinning our wheels and not really getting anywhere. So my friend, same thing. She's an agent, been an agent for a long time. What I noticed is she was spending a lot of time working on just different ideas, and a lot of them just weren't panning out. And finally, I was like, she's asking me about leads and all these different ideas to generate leads, and should I do Zillow, should I do Facebook, all these different things. And I'm thinking, you've been an agent for like 8-9 years now. I think that you're wasting your time on all this stuff. What? I'm wasting my time? What do you mean? Like, I need to get leads, I need to do this, need that. Well, I was like, okay. And then she was talking about a strategy, of posting to social media and doing videos and maybe a YouTube channel and a blog. These are all different ideas. I'm sure you guys come up with, you guys hear these things, right? You hear these ideas, you're not really sure which one would work. Maybe you've tried or dabbled in a few of them and never really got anything. I don't know, Jesse, have you experienced that yourself before?
100%, man. This is like, you're literally
100 times.
100 times. Whether you're a brand new agent or experienced agent, you're literally describing, like, I'm watching the chat box. I don't know if you can see it, by the way, but like, so Joyce just said, yes, all apply to me. Like, you're literally describing through, I think everyone, you're spot on.
Right. Exactly, right? So she was having the same thing. And I said, look, here's the problem. Most of these strategies that you're learning, they're actually setting you up to fail, believe it or not. And I said, the strategies and advice that are given to agents, I mean, there's a lot of good ideas. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great ideas, but I think most of the strategies, they kind of set you up to fail.
How so?
The reason is because the fundamentals of creating a successful real estate business haven't actually changed. And let me fix this here. There we go. They haven't actually changed. And I think what's happening is everyone's looking for like this new, like brand new way of necessarily doing things. I guess maybe something they haven't heard of or whatever, but the fundamentals are really the same. It's only the methods and delivery that have changed. And what that means is this. A lot of you guys, the good news, right? This is good news for you guys. You're all closer than you think. The only issue is you've been really probably looking in the wrong places. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. There's actually 5 secrets that I'm going to share with you. And really is the fastest way to a transaction. There's no faster way to a transaction. And on top of that, it's actually the fastest way to grow your real estate business. So if you're like, how do I sell more? How do I sell more? I got to go get leads. I'm going to kind of break that down for you here today with my 5 secrets.
I love it.
All right. So secret 1, those are the secrets I'm going to go over, but just for time, I'm going to go ahead and just jump in right away. Now, when you truly understand these secrets, you will be able to sell more.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't worry. So are you going to come back to all 5? Because I want people to write them down. So you're going to go hit each one of them?
Oh, yeah. You're going to get one at a time. Yep.
Just make sure.
So I'll go ahead.
If you're watching,
I'll make sure I give you guys time to write that down.
All right, cool.
As we go through those. So once you get these secrets, right, and you kind of understand them, you're going to be able to sell more. You're going to be able to build stronger relationships with your prospects and your clients, resulting in more referrals, more conversions of your existing leads, all that. Plus, you're going to have a huge advantage over everyone else because these strategies aren't really used by many other agents. And most importantly, you're going to be able to create the life and career you want, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to create an income. We're supposed to have freedom, right? Agents, that's the whole point of this whole thing. And we end up not really finding that because we get stuck. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things. I see people working 50 hours a week to sell 6 deals a year. Makes no sense, right? And why? It's because there's a lot of start stops. There's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of spending time on strategies that don't work or strategies that set you up to fail, which I'm going to explain a little bit. Because in the end, the most important secret at all is simply your database.
Okay.
So what do I mean by this? Well,
hey, hold on. That's why I want to pause. Ready? So
there you go. Write that down. Secret number 1.
Yes. Well, no, and the reason why I want people to write down is because we do so many Zooms every day and webinars as agents. Like this is the world of COVID, right? And so if people are home, we got a lot of people watching this live. We got people on Facebook, people on the webinar. Like even if you know this, you're like, well, duh, it's your database. I want you to write it down because it's going to help you engage with this material in a different way and bring you more presence to what he's going to tell you. Because I guarantee there's a way to look at your database that you haven't looked at it before. Go ahead, Wes. Wesley. I keep calling you Wes. Wesley. Sorry. Go ahead, Wesley.
Exactly. No, Wes is fine.
Okay.
So your database is actually the lifeblood of your business. In fact, the database is the single most important asset in any business, especially real estate. But what I've seen is that most agents, they don't treat their database as number 1. Actually kind of gets pushed down to secondary to everything else, meaning everything else. The database is like the last thing you work on, right? But in the end, the deals are in the database. Oh, one thing too, I want to tell you this real quick story. I know, I get it. When I was building my business, I was like super scared to contact my database, right? Even though like everyone says the money's in the list, the money's in the list, the money's in the list. But I was a digital marketer. So I was like, well, I know that, but I need some leads. So I was all about the leads, always generating leads and new business. And that's where I focus. I focus all my time on new business, all the different shiny objects, all the different fun stuff. Well, one time I was kind of in a corner where I didn't have those options. And essentially I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to send an email to my list. The issue is when you don't email your list consistently or you're not in contact with them, like we talked earlier, you're kind of scared, whatever, too much time goes by. Yeah, your email doesn't do as well. Your text doesn't do as well. Everything doesn't do as well. But in any case, even with that being said, I went ahead and sent the email to my, customers and had success. And I was like, oh man, that was so awesome. That was so cool. So from there, I was like, well, shoot, if I could do this here, then imagine, like when I look at real estate, I'm thinking you're more one-on-one, you're more personal. You're out there showing homes, you're out there meeting and physically having, in a way, there's a relationship built with these people, your past clients and such, right? And for me, it's not. A lot of it's online. I don't necessarily meet them. And if you could just get over the fear of contacting your list, there is so much potential in there. In fact, all the deals you're looking for, honestly, for the majority of you, are going to be in the database. And this was like my biggest aha moment in my business, that really, okay, my sole purpose should be to just grow my database. Yes, that's important. But more important than that is to nurture and keep connected to my database. So think about what you're doing right now. Are you focusing and spending your time on your database?
Okay.
Another thing is, are you organizing it? I don't know. Do you have a system of organization, Jesse, for your database?
100% I have a system of organization. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 100% I have a system of organization, but as I'm listening to this filter, because this is what's interesting. Even though I know this, like you said, I'm listening through the filter of, what can I take to another level, right? I have a system of organization, but we don't always use it. We don't always rate people, categorize people A, B, C. We don't do things we need to. I don't have some labeled as past clients and sphere versus what they should be done. Like you're spot on. And I've been doing this for 16 years. We can come back to it in a minute, but I do want you to address, I think it was Letitia who asked the question. Letitia asked, she said she's a new agent just trying to build her database. I'm assuming we'll address that as well, but let's assume that kind of two
we will actually.
Yeah, one where we have people who already have a database, right? What do they do? And then second, we'll get to people who want to build their database.
Exactly. So good question, Letitia. By having your database segmented, what you find is, guess what? All your follow-up, all your effort's going to be way more effective than if you didn't have it organized. And I think what happens when I say, remember the lifeblood of your business, he said it perfectly. We're dealing with transactions, we're dealing with that. And so when the lead comes, you're like, just put it in, just do that. And now you forgot to categorize, you forgot to tag it. So now a month, 2 months, especially if you're doing a lot of lead gen, but a month, 2, 3 months go by, and now you just got a mess. But a mess in the most important thing in your business. That's the thing, right? This is the lifeblood of the business. But here's the thing. Right now, you guys, a lot of agents, it's not the lifeblood. It doesn't have lifeblood. I get my business here. If you're struggling for transactions at all in any shape or form, then pay close attention. The quality of the database is ultimately going to determine the value of your business. Not to get too much off track, but if you were to sell your real estate business, they don't give a crap about what you're doing right now. If it's not systematic and it's not predictable, because they're really buying the data. If that data is just all over the place, the business is almost not worth anything.
Yeah, and we have one question that I'll just throw out there in the Q&A, and because I like kind of throwing these questions if you're good with that, Wesley. So to frame this up, Stacy says, I feel so lost. I'm brand new. Let me move this over on the other monitor. I'm brand new, got a license in September, wrote my first contract in November. Yeah, rock on. Have a closing in January. Have been consistent with social media posting. I do a video with every open house I do. I do an open house every weekend. I send notes, have lunches, do mailings. You have to clarify, Stacy, what do you want in there for a question? But when you say you feel so lost, are you talking about like maybe like what is your list? How do you do database? Wesley, just so you guys know who are following along, he's going to show you exactly how to set up like where you get your database from, what your list is, and what to do with those people. Correct, Wesley?
Yeah, and I'll work it in. So I'll go ahead and open up the questions so that I can see them here.
Yeah.
And that way I'll work it into the content.
Yeah. And we don't have to jump around. I know you have a flow. I just want to throw it in there, like in case people.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
because this was marketed. This webinar is the fastest road to a transaction. So if you're new watching this, believe me, if you're patient as we go through this, he's going to tie it all together. You're going to see how they all come together and what you do, whether you're new agent or experienced.
Exactly. Definitely post those comments. So. Go ahead and leave them also, Tessa, as open for now, and then I'll mark them answered once I get through them. All right. So when it comes to your database, what we know is someone's getting paid and it's not you. My friend Steven, you guys might have seen him before. He always says, hey, just about every listing is a result of another agent's failure to follow up. Think about that for a second. Now, in your database, your sphere, up to 10% are either going to buy or sell themselves, or they know someone who's going to buy or sell in the next year. So think about it. If you can just capture even 5% of your database of 200, you should have at least 10 deals, not including potential referrals that they may have, or even referral fees, like if you refer them to another agent. So think, how many deals potentially have you lost to other agents you don't know about? Speaking of new agents, this is a new agent. She's a student of ours, Delilah. Once she started contacting her database, the newer agent, she realized right away within the first week that there was 2 listings on the market with another agent that she had worked with in the past. She was just a week too late. So she's like, oh my goodness, like that was the proof to her. I'm never going to let that happen again, because she's out there looking for listings. They were in her database the entire time. So think about this. What does your database look like? Are your contacts spread across different systems and files? Are they organized? Do they look more like this top left group of that Lego mess? Or are they more like the right? Or are they like the bottom? Ultimately, the goal is they should look like, this picture here. Perfectly organized, segmented, tagged. But what ends up happening is you just have them all over, and then maybe you start, well, I'll just put them in some bins by color. But it's, the deeper you go, the better. Start with something. You're not always just going to get here. It takes a lot of time.
Are these?
But could you quickly just pull up? Yeah.
Just one question. Are these pictures of your actual Lego collection?
No.
Okay,
no.
Just checking. And let's see. And someone just asked.
No, I don't keep my. If you saw my Lego collection, they're actually more like this bottom one right here.
Okay, just checking. And someone just said, can you go back one slide? But I don't know how. We'll check in the recording because I don't want to go all the way back there. I'm not sure what the last slide, how far back they want to go. We'll come back to that. I see that note there. Oh, just that's why I was like, that slide. I'm confused. Anyway, keep rolling. I love this. This is frightening me about my own database, but you're absolutely spot on. Looking at those pictures of Legos gives me anxiety. I hope you tell me what to do with them.
Well, I know a lot of you guys have the questions like, okay, what about growing my database, right? People are saying, well, I'm new, or I want to get leads, this and that, whatever. Well, there's secret number 2. It's the lead game and really understanding how it works, playing the lead game. We all know that it takes money to make money, but when it comes to generating leads online, there's a lot that they don't tell you, whether a lot of you may have actually done this already. You buy leads online. You've tried that. You've bought Zillow. You've bought Facebook. Maybe you've done who knows what, right? Maybe you've had success. Maybe you haven't had too much success, whatever it may be. But a lot of times you're going to see like hype out there. Like, oh, I just sold 2 houses with $20 ad spend on Facebook. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen. I'm not saying they're being untruthful. What I'm saying is that is just not the norm. To succeed in generating leads online, you've got to have money to get in the game. And unfortunately, $25 here and there, which is I know that's what a lot of you guys are doing. I'll put $20 on this boosted post. We're going to get into that. Maybe something will happen. No, nothing's going to happen. You might as well send it over to me. I'll send you the address. You're going to need to invest a few $100s at minimum consistently to get anything to happen. For example, on Facebook, you need 100 leads to get 2 to 5 leads that are like actively looking, right? To get everyone else, they might be looking later, but you might get 2 to 5 leads that are ready to go right now. And of those, you might get 1 or 2 that might actually close. That's why a lot of times you hear in the group, you'll see people saying, oh, these leads suck. Should I get them from Zillow? All those leads suck. Oh, can I get here? All those leads suck. And some of the other people are like, they don't suck for me. It's working fine for me. The reason is because if you don't know the rules to the game, you're going to basically lose. Most agents, they quit before they ever get to 100 leads. They usually get $25. And by then you either get 1 lead, maybe, and 2, and then they don't answer their phone. And you're like, well, that didn't work. So you give up. And you go on looking for some other thing that's supposedly going to bring all these leads for like $5 or $10. But the lead game is this: understanding your lead costs. How much does a lead really cost? Because if a lead costs $100 in the end, but it results in a transaction, is it worth it? Yes. If a lead costs $1,000 and it closes, yes. That's your cost per acquisition. I'm not going to get into numbers here. But so how many of those leads do you need to equal that? And that's where I think a lot of us get, we don't understand that game. We don't pay attention to the numbers game. And so because we don't know the rules, we don't know our numbers, we're just looking for, like, we're hoping something works. We spray and pray basically. We wonder why most of us, I know a lot of you are not doing lead gen right now. That's why you dabble in lead gen. Well, you might be surprised to know that getting more leads is not actually the answer. Not necessarily. Most agents, they focus all their time on trying to get more leads. But you know what? Once you're in that cycle, it's never ending. It can be never ending, because then all you're doing is you're buying leads. You put your money to buy the leads. You sell a house, but guess what? Now you need more leads, right? So now you just take the money from what you sold, put it into more leads, and you're not actually growing. And so you may do it. You may have like a little growth, but now you plateaued again because you're still stuck. You're still stuck. So you keep going up and plateauing. So you spend a little more. You do another little thing. You add another lead source. Maybe you grow a little more, but then you ultimately plateau and you're like, what the hell is going on? Well, you got to understand your numbers. You got to understand the stuff. But more than anything, remember, it comes back to your database, right? Secret number one. And I'm going to go into that more. Second, or the other thing is you're at the mercy of lead provider. So if that breaks, your business does too. And some of this happened to a lot of you when Zillow and Realtor.com changed their pricing models, and a lot of people had to drop out. And if your Facebook account gets disabled or any of that stuff, right? So would any of you pour water into a bucket that had big giant holes in it? Because that's what a lot of you guys are doing right now, or want to do. What I tell you is like when I tell my students is before you spend money on leads, you need to make sure you got a bucket with like the least number of holes as possible. What are you going to say, Jesse?
I say you speak the truth, dude. Like this is the career path of most agents I know, including myself. Like it's true. This is totally true.
And if you're already spending money on leads, which I'm sure Jesse and a lot of other people in here are, you're leaving the money on the table, because it's just all, what is it doing? It's all leaking out the bucket, right? You're keeping some, but you're leaking out of the bucket. That's why you end up in plateau. That's why you end up stuck. The bigger your holes, the more stuck you are. The solo agents, the top producers, successful teams who are selling 50, 100, 300 homes or more a year, they've gotten pretty good at fixing leaky bucket, meaning they may still have leaks, but they've fixed a lot of the leaks where it maintains a lot of the water, right? Which is why it works for them, but it doesn't work for you. Because most of you, when you get into it, you're not a team. You don't have the systems. You don't have the follow process. You don't have the ISA. You don't have all these different things, which are basically seals for your bucket. You just have like a bucket with like one giant hole or multiple giant holes in it. So where would I start if I were you? Well, if I was a new agent, I would probably just focus on growing your database. Now, here's what I mean by that. A lot of you mean, oh, I got to go get leads or buy leads. No. Grow your database, meaning you have a database or a CRM, a customer relationship manager, somewhere where you store these people. Now you go to your sphere, your contacts, your existing phone contacts. Who would you invite to a wedding? Your Facebook friends, groups, networking groups, whoever, acquaintances, wherever. And you start reaching out and adding those people, those potentials to your database. That's grow your database. Now there are things you can do creatively using Facebook groups and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all those strategies today. I'll give you a few though. I'll give you a few for you new agents who want just a few ideas. If I was an existing agent, meaning I'm not new, and I've been in the business for a few years, I would just focus on working in your database. That's the fastest way to your next transaction. If you're like, dude, I need to sell something, like, where do you go? Do you go start a Facebook campaign or start a blog strategy or something? Is that the fastest way? No, the fastest way is go to your freaking database and start calling people, texting them, whatever. That's the fastest way. So for you newer agents or those who want to grow your database with no money in pocket, I'll just give you a few ideas. I'm not going to go too deep on this right now. For time, one easy way is either work or acquire other agents' leads. Leverage other people's leads. Here's the great thing for you. There's tons of people out there, tons of agents who get a lot of leads that they don't do very well with. They don't follow very well, all that. Go out there and say, hey, can I have your leads that are, I think the magic number was like 18 months, 16 months and older. And to a lot of agents, Oh yeah, those are dead. Take them. Here, take them. Get them here. Yeah, I'll buy you lunch. Whatever. I'll give you a percentage per appointment. Oh yeah, you're gonna get appointments. Pay me $50 an appointment. Sure, whatever, No money out of pocket. You get the leads. What most they don't know is they don't know that these are the most valuable leads that they could possibly have. Hey, I got your leads over. I'll just use Jesse's example. Hey, I'm calling, you had inquired a while ago on a property on Zillow, blah, blah, blah. And if they had talked to him, which most of them haven't, so they won't even know, you're just saying, are you still interested in looking? Are you still looking? That's it. It's that simple. Promote other agents' properties. Go, just like open houses used to be, right? Why don't you go out, get other agents' properties, promote those, maybe through a virtual open house. Go to a Facebook group. Go look at those channels that are available to you. Craigslist. Craigslist still exists, right? That's still a thing. A lot of people left. Another thing you could do, reach out to your sphere, family, friends. That's what a lot of you guys are doing now, including Facebook friends. Just reach out. Don't be like, hey, do you have something to sell? Just reach out. Just grow your network, your connection, right? So they know what you're doing now. Just have those conversations, or potentially even join referral networks that could send you referrals, or agents that can send you referrals for your area. And the other thing I put up there too, I didn't really talk about it, was you can work with other agents or start as a buyer agent. Go find, hey, a lot of these agents don't like to show homes. A busy agent, hey, what if I was a buyer agent? Or what if I worked these leads? Or what if I did this? Figure that out. Those are different ways you can get jump started without having to spend money on leads.
I love it. You answered the question, right?
Questions.
No, so someone said, you answered some of these questions already. Like Joyce had said, I don't have 200
questions.
Joyce said, I don't have 200 contacts. I've been in real estate for 8 months. Well, you answered that question, right? You just gave a list of all the things that they could do.
Yeah. And the thing is a lot of times is when they're like, well, I don't have 200 contacts. I'm like, why is it when we're having a wedding or some big party or whatever, oh, we have 50 people coming, right? But once you get to real estate, it's like, I only know 10 people. That's it's so much BS. You have to dig deep. Well, weren't you going to invite Aunt Sally? Yeah, but she doesn't live here. Does she know someone? What is she going to move? Do you make money on referral fees? The last time I checked, if you send someone across state, that's a stream of income that I feel like a lot of agents overlook or don't even consider, is just referring homes. My friend Steven, again, you guys have, and Jesse, I'm sure, is very familiar with this, but they sold 300 homes, but they had so many leads and so many opportunities, they had to refer out over 600 of them. Right? So, if I was an agent, I'm a kind of a lazy agent. I would probably refer out probably more than half my business and only actually do a few deals that actually want to work. And everything else, I just have agents in my network here, and just have the money come in. And I'm not doing any of the work. I'm just collecting the money. I'm just collecting the fees, right? But you always feel like you have to be doing the transaction. So when I see, hey, I don't have the database, this and that, it's like, look, that's why I'm teaching you this. They're trying to open your mind oh my God, I've been missing it. It's been under your nose the whole time, right?
Love it.
Here's the other thing. Huge. The compound effect. Secret number 3. And this is where it gets really interesting. When you start building your database, let me explain the compound effect first. In the book by Darren Hardy, he describes the compound effect. It's a strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions. And that's the biggest agents are making. They're not taking those seemingly insignificant actions. So what's an insignificant action to an agent? Well, a lot of time it's the following up. It's the following up consistently with their prospects, their past clients, because they believe whatever they're working on right now is a significant action that's going to generate leads and new business among everything else that they do. Those are significant. But you know what ends up? It ends up that most of that stuff ends up being insignificant. Pretty crazy if you think about it. So let me show you how it works. Let's say you have 100 contacts in my database starting. And I'll just say we're doing a little bit of lead gen, or we're doing something to put some people in there, okay? So let's say I have 100, I add 50 for the month. I mean, I got 50 leads somehow through the month, through talking to people, through the strategy I mentioned, or you're doing a little bit of advertising or lead generation. Well, I should be following up with these people, right? By the second month, I'll have 100. I'll have 200. By month 3, I'll have 250. Goes on and on. So by month 6, I should have 400. By month 9, I should have 550. And in a year's time, I should have at least 700, right? And that's just adding 50 only. Now, obviously, over a year, if you're growing your database and you're doing everything, you could probably add more. So the compound effect actually goes faster as you grow. That's why you see teams and stuff doing that, is because the first one is 50, but the next one might be 75. The next one would be 150, and it just keeps adding. Here's the key, though. If you are, what you need to do is you need to actually be reaching out consistently in some way, shape, or form to every single person in that database every single month. What you do is you keep just scraping off the top for a few, and that's it. And there's all this underneath that you never work. This is a typical agent database growth.
And I was talking on mute, Wesley. How do you do that? When you keep growing this database, how do you follow up with everybody?
I got that next. That's my secret number 4.
I love it.
All right. So, so the typical agent, this is kind of a joke. The typical agent database growth is more like this, month 1, month 12. But no, for real, let's look at this. All right. Let's say I have a database 300. This is a more of a realistic case scenario. When I attempt to reach everyone, I try to reach everybody, but maybe 20 bounce, 20 are no good, whatever, right? So I end up attempting to reach 280 people. Of those 280 people, I get some kind of response from them, some conversations, some are leave me alone, some are who is this, some is this is not Wesley anymore, whatever, okay? And of those, I could get 5 appointments. So out of the 70, I get 5 appointments. From those 5 appointments, decent close rate, get 2 contracts. But I also found 3 people to refer, right? Because they're out of my area or whatever. Once that's all said and done, my average commission in this case was $8,000. So I got 2 deals at $8,000, not me, but the person in this. And then the referral commissions was $3,000 for each of those. I put that wrong. That's actually more. Let's just say I got 1 referral, whatever. I have to fix that slide. The total earned in this case, let's say we had 1 referral, not the 3, just 1 referral, was $25,000 based off of that math, off a 300-person database. I have to skip through some of the stuff. So most are consistently inconsistent. Most agents don't maximize the full power of the compound effect because they have poor follow-up systems. They don't have a way. Well, how am I supposed to contact that many people in 1 month? How am I supposed to keep in touch with 1,100 people in 1 month? They have inconsistent follow-up. That creates an inconsistent pipeline that most agents just settle for, which is why you need a system that allows you to follow up and nurture your database consistently without being a stalker or coming off annoying. So no matter what the size of your database, whether it's 700 or it's 1,500 or more, by having a follow-up system in place to work with your prospecting efforts, you can continue to re-engage your database, strengthen those relationships. And by doing that also, it makes it nearly impossible to be penetrated by other agents and big companies or for them to go elsewhere. Also, when you think about you're following up with everybody every single month in some way, you're going to end up giving yourself a raise each and every year because you're leveraging the compound effect. It keeps building on each other. So if you ever see yourself stuck, right, it's because you're not like I said, where do I do? What's the first thing I should do? Go here. This is the fastest way to transaction and grow your business. How to sell more homes. This is the fastest way to your database. This is Steven. He was saying basically they knew how many referrals they'd have before the month even started. Right? They had a system in place. They knew their numbers. They knew how many referrals they'd have before the month even started. So those are what we covered so far.
So
database, lead game, compound effect.
And for people who are already loving this, I'm just, Tessa just dropped in the chat box a link. I just want to explain to people what the link is. Obviously, you got 2 more secrets we're going to go over. We got time.
Yeah, good.
But she just dropped in. She said, you guys are doing follow-up strategy sessions. And there's a link in the chat box to use to go. What is a follow-up strategy session?
Yeah, so basically, we're creating a program, which I'm going to explain. I don't know if I have time today. I don't know how much time we have after the 12. I don't have
17 hours.
We have 10 minutes. Yeah, we have 10 minutes. But basically, if you wanted help, we're basically having a course with guided implementation to essentially help people to get their database together, train people what they need to do, they put it all in order, get your database together. This is how you create your follow-up systems. This is a follow-up automation. Here's all the emails and texts and everything that you need. All that, basically the process. And so we're basically going to have that system that we're going to make available very soon. And so we have the strategy session just to make sure it makes sense for you, at this time. For some of you, it may not make sense to start there. If you're new, it probably doesn't make sense to start with this session right now, because you need to go get your database together and start doing stuff. Not to say we don't have a pack. We have a way we can help you, but it's just kind of figure out where you're at.
Okay.
And then see what would be the best step forward for you.
Yes. So let's break that down. So if someone's brand new watching this, we'll tell them what they should do. If they already have a bit of a database and they want to figure out step-by-step what to do for follow-up, the session's free, doesn't cost anything. They're just going to learn their options. So they click on the link. Tessa, if you want to drop in that session again, is this, McKinley just asked, is this a one-on-one session with you, someone for your team? Is this free session?
Yeah, it's a one-on-one. That session is one-on-one, this one that is in there. And then from there, you'll have the opportunity, the options we have is to do, the programs we have is to do group. So they're a little bit cheaper to do group sessions. And then we have one-on-one where we have someone actually work with you the entire way. Those are a little bit more expensive. You have to apply to get into that group. But either way, you want to start with this strategy session to see what's right for you.
That's what I was saying. And this strategy session is free. This is booking a free strategy session. Yeah, this one's free.
This one's completely free. It's one-on-one with one of my follow-up, strategists. And they basically will ask you some questions, kind of get to know where you're at, and then figure out, okay, here's where you should start or what we recommend you do.
Yeah, I love
either way, you should have some value from the call.
Yeah. And if someone is brand new or newer, should they still sign up for this free strategy session, or is there someplace else you want them to go? Or should
it definitely wouldn't hurt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So everybody goes to this free
it's good for everyone. I just wanted to put it out there that there's not going to be any magical answer to the issue. It's going to cover a lot of what I gave you here. And obviously it's going to be a little more work on your end because you have to, you have to do some prospecting, go out to your database, stuff like that. But if you're looking for direction because you're suffering from overwhelm, then this is a lot of times a good way to get that, especially for new agents, because as a new agent, you just have so many paths to go to. You're not really sure which one to start on.
Yeah.
I
love it. And I already know we're not going to get through everything on this one webinar. That's the whole idea, guys. There's no 1 hour webinar that's going to solve all your problems. You want to see if this is a fit for where you're at in your business and if you think it can help you move the needle on selling more houses in less time. If so, you can go deeper into Wesley's world.
And what I'll do too for everybody, I'm sorry, the audio sometimes,
I noticed we have a little delay. It's fine. Yeah, you're good.
The other thing too that I'll do is I'm actually putting this together so it is less than an hour. So if, I'll email it. It'll probably be in the next week or so, and I'll email it out to everybody, the full 1 hour presentation. You could just watch it anytime, on just you and the screen if you're interested, because we aren't going to get through the whole thing today. I do want to cover number 4, in the next 7 minutes for you, just to kind of at least unlock that for you. And I think we definitely have time. But yeah, anyway, thank you for bringing up that session. And hopefully if people find that helpful for them. All right, let's wrap this up with secret number 4. And this, I think, is going to answer a lot of the questions. There's a lot to cover, so I'm not going to be able to get through all of it. But I will tell you this. I'm going to give you the key items from this part of the presentation. It's omnipresence, the state of widespread constantly being encountered. There's something you're battling. It's called the cool-off factor. It's the same reason when you pass a police car on the side of the road, you slow down, but once they're out of sight, out of mind, you're back to your normal speed. So your job is to keep your prospects and your past clients hot for you by following up with your database, nurturing them. A lot of you guys use email. Email, it's okay. It's all right. But 85% of the people will now open it. On top of that, if your email's not opened within the first 24 hours, the chances of it ever being opened is less than 1%. That's why people send emails so often. If you wonder why I send me emails so often, that's because of that. Now there's other ways to keep in touch. Text message, voicemails, calling, meeting, right? But if you do that too much, gets a little weird. Gets a little bit weird. So you don't want to do that. That's why you got to expand. You got to expand the new social channels, like online, like social media, stuff like that, right? You know your prospects, your past clients, your sphere are all on social media, like Facebook and Instagram. But unfortunately, remember I was telling you earlier, they set you up to fail. A lot of what's being taught right now requires a lot of time and effort. Most of you will never, ever have to put into that type of strategy. So the question is, are you wasting your time on social media? Well, when you guys post or you create things, what ends up happening? For a lot of you, nothing. It's like crickets. You know, maybe you get 1 or 2 likes or something. Maybe you get a comment. That's really it. That's if you're lucky. Why is that? The other thing is almost no one sees your posts. So 90% of the people who follow, let's say your business page, right? If you're posting on your Facebook business page or your Instagram, whatever, 90% of the people don't see it. And even if they did see it, Facebook makes sure they only see it once. One time. No more. 1 for you, 0 for you. So they're going to show you to about 8 to 12% of your followers and once per person. Why? Well, Facebook organic reach is on the drop. Because Facebook is a pay-to-play model. They can't be given too many freebies because that business space on their timeline, people pay really good money for. That's why it's very, very limited in what they're going to give you. Plus, on top of that, when you post to social, even if you were to see it, the lifespan, super short. This is why, I know this is going to surprise a lot of people here, and some of you are good at it. If you're good at it, great. But for most of us, this is why I rate the social media posting strategy as a waste of time. I know, I'm going against the grain. I say it's a waste of time for most people. Unless you're someone who systemizes the content creation, you're constantly posting, and you can do that consistently for weeks and months at a time, because I see the strategies all over. It only works if you're consistent, creating new content. That's a lot of work. That has to be your business model if it's going to work. For most of you, it's not even on an option on the table, and you already know that. Your time is better spent elsewhere. It's harsh, but it's the truth.
So I want to jump in.
Who's to post? Someone asked this earlier.
Okay, can I just jump in for one sec, Wesley? So just on the sake of timing, for those of you that might have come in late or missed it, Tessa did drop into the chat box a link to the YouTube channel where you can see the entire replay of this whole webinar, right? Go to the LCA YouTube channel. And I don't know how you're doing on timing, Wesley. We're almost to the top of the hour, but do you have a few extra minutes to answer Q&A and stick around? What?
I have a meeting right at 12 o'clock after this, another Zoom. So I'm on a hard, yeah.
Well,
unfortunately, today I'm on a hard stop.
So do I. No worries. So I'll let you finish boosted post. Let me just say this. It's like PT Barnum always says, right? If you guys know P.T. Barnum from the circus, always leave them wanting more. Right. So it's all, if we didn't get through all of it, we still have number 5 next time. He's going to cover boosted posts. Guys, if you want to know more, just go to that link. Tessa, if you'll drop it in the box again, the link to the strategy session, book a free strategy session with like, these guys are, you can tell they know what they're doing, right? If nothing else, book a session. That way you can figure out, doesn't cost anything, that way you can figure out like what direction to go. All right. Wrap it up with boosted posts and we'll take us out of here.
Exactly. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I think this is one of the number one questions we get, right? So boosted posts. Someone had asked, so on leads on Facebook, are you saying that paying leads is like boosting posts? Unfortunately, not. And this is part of the understanding the lead game. Problem with boosting posts is you don't really get all the audience targeting that you get in Ads Manager, right? If you go to Facebook Ads Manager. The other thing too to understand boosted posts is these are mostly leftovers. What does that mean? Well, you see, as an advertiser, there's multiple objectives to choose on Facebook. And this one is not best practice as an agency. You're not supposed to use this one. The reason is when you're selling it to you on the boosted post, it's the leftovers. These are the types of ads that target people who take the least meaningful action on any ad that they look at. Because anyone who's actually buying, filling out forms, filling out lead forms, taking any action of relevance, they're generally not shown ads under a boosted post. They're shown ads under something called a conversion objective, not an engagement objective, which is this. So you're really getting the leftover traffic that none of the other marketers want. That's what they're selling you, all the extra traffic on your boosted posts. Plus, there's a limited, not really an effective call to action. So you don't get like the button to click on. You can put a link in there, but again, you're advertising to people who are unlikely to click. There are ways to make boosted posts work. It's just much harder. We've had success with like boosting certain listings and stuff, listing promotions, but only if those link into like a landing page and stuff like that. But it doesn't always work for that reason.
Well,
the other thing too is that's okay. I'll get it. I can be a couple minutes. The other thing too is when you're doing boosted posts, I know I don't have the drawing.
Yeah, Wesley, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap it up. Like, I just want to give it to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. This is such incredible info. So wrap it up here. Take us out because I got to jump off also. But this is incredible. So don't go anywhere, guys. Listen to the rest of this. This is good. Thank you, Wesley. Thanks so much, man.
That's okay. I'm wrapping up right now. So the other thing too is a lot of you will spend like $20, $30, $40. And then you're going to like, you're trying to brand an audience of like a whole city in a 15-mile radius. Well, the problem with that is, now Facebook requires a 15-mile radius. You can't just farm a zip code anymore, which is why I rate boosted posts a waste of money. So unless you're using advanced strategies and custom audiences and you're doing retargeting and all that kind of stuff, which I know none of you are doing, maybe one of you, maybe a marketing background or something, then it's unfortunately, it's just not going to work for you the same way. So we are out of time. Apologize for that. The other thing too is kind of the whole goal of all of this, guys, is to maintain top of mind awareness ultimately. And you could do that by using something called retargeting or follow-up ads. And what I like about follow-up ads, and in case you don't know how they work, basically people who visit your website or your Facebook page or whatever, when they visit, you could target those people to show them ads. Same thing with your contacts. You can actually put your database and then you could target those people to see your ads. So instead of like trying to boost and focus on your ads for an entire neighborhood, for an entire city, you just simply focus on where or on your audience, your custom audience, basically, your database, your people, your prospects, and become top of mind for them. That's the omnipresence. So if you think about your follow-up and bringing it all together, connecting it all together, is now maybe you are sending email, maybe you're sending postcard, maybe you're sending this, maybe you're sending that. But the social media posts, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But if you can just create a few posts, a couple things in just a few hours a year, and then just use these follow-up ads to basically put it out in the into your audience so they see it over and over and over again for just pennies, 50 cents a day, I think is where we're at right now. Now it actually starts giving you that full omnipresence. And now you're fully working your database, right? But again, you really should be using all the strategies together, calling or texting and messaging and all of them, and then them just seeing you everywhere. That's going to keep you top of mind. It's going to make it all work together. So that is all I have for today. I have another meeting I got to jump into. I'm going to be putting together this full thing with the full 5 secrets. It is going to be less than an hour. With Q&A and stuff, it goes a bit over. So it is it's one of those presentations. But if I'm going to get the list of everyone who attended here, and I will email it to everybody once it is available. And it'll probably be called the same thing, fastest way to transaction, and then you'll know. Can you boost your friends only? Technically, no, but basically, if you ask all your friends to like your page or there's tricks. I have this training course. I train how to do sorts of things like that. You could, yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for attending the session today. Go ahead and grab your, if you're curious to learn more or think you would like help implementing any of this stuff, go ahead and schedule your appointment there with my team, and they will go ahead and they can fill you in on the details, answer some of those specific questions that you have. And yeah, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to get through the whole thing. I probably underestimated or overestimated the time or whatnot. But yeah, that's all. So enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Thanks for attending. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.